You're not getting enough sleep. Sleep is so freaking important. Not only is it just important, but waking up and feeling well rested is amazing. Have you ever gone an all-nighter? Or have you ever gotten to sleep and only gotten 4 or 5 hours of sleep? And you wake up, the alarm is blaring at you, and you're like, oh, I gotta go to work for my 8, 12-hour shift. And you are tired as hell. I hate that feeling. Waking up tired is the bane of my existence. I have made it my mission in life to never feel tired ever again when waking up. Of course, there'll be a few days where life gets in the way. If you have a really hard job that you have to spend a lot of time at, if you have kids, if you have chronic sleep issues, then sometimes sleep gets in the way. Sometimes we can't necessarily fix sleep with at-home tips. So before I get into this video, if you have any of those issues and you can't get to sleep from some random 23-year-old telling you how to get the best sleep of your life, please consult the doctor. I am not a doctor. I'm an engineer and I'm a YouTuber. And as I post this video, I have 39 subscribers. So if you have any sleep issues, go talk to an expert. I'm an expert on my own life, I guess. Not necessarily. Anyways, getting into it. I have a few tips that I learned about how to give you the best sleep. And not only that, but I have a few tips and things to tell you about how sleep is powerful, lack of sleep is dangerous, and how to have the best sleep of your life. Let's get into it. According to a 2018 study with about 10,000 participants, it was found that for most, if not all people, well, actually, no, all people, if anybody gets less than 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, there is a decent drop in cognitive functions, in our skills to communicate and make logical reasoning. There was also another study done. Multiple studies that were put together. I'm going to put citations and all that around in the description below if you want to read more about these from actually peer-reviewed articles. There was another one that said, for those who drive on 5 hours of sleep, they are twice as likely to get into a crash. And it's just as dangerous as driving if you have a blood alcohol level of 0.05%. Where I live, at least what I remember learning in the past, is that the legal limit is 0.08%. But still, driving slightly intoxicated is not safe. And in this study, it said that those who drive with 4 hours or less of sleep experience 15 times the likelihood of getting into a crash. Sleep deprivation is dangerous. Not only that, having a long period of time of having very little sleep is very dangerous for your health. There are some benefits to a good night's sleep. The biggest benefits for sleep, getting a good night's sleep on the long term, is 1, getting less sick. 2, it helps with weight loss. 3, it lowers the risk of serious health problems. 4, it reduces your stress and improves your mood. 5, it clears your thinking and helps you perform better during the day. 6, you get along with people better. And number 7, it just helps you make better decisions. On average, the normal adult needs about 7 to 8 hours of sleep. For the normal teenager, they need about 8 to 9. And for kids and infants, they need way more. Sleep is very important for helping recover and give us some time to not only recover the body, but recover the mind, maybe even the soul. So, if you want to know how to get really good sleep and get started with this, the first thing that you should know is that sleep works in 90-minute intervals. There are 4 levels of sleep, 4 different levels that you enter in with sleep. There's one which is the lightest level of sleep. Essentially that feeling of when you're right about to drift unconscious or just after you drift unconscious in sleep, there is a short period of time where you are in that lightest sleep. Then there is the second level, which that's the first one was called stage 1 or N1 if you go and look at research studies and papers, which I will have a article down below that talks more about this. So then number 2 or N2, stage 2 is light sleep. Then N3 is deep sleep. Then you finally get to the bottom one, which everyone knows is rapid eye movement sleep or REM sleep. This is when we have dreams. And this is where a lot of mental recovery and a lot of physical recovery is done. It's our body in a very deep and relaxed recovery state. If you want to get really good sleep, instead of doing 7 hours, it's actually recommended that you get about 7.5 to 9 hours. Humans and adults can function, of course, not exactly on those times because not everybody works exactly on 90-minute cycles, but that's a good average to go on. So the best way to do this is you can actually go on and do a sleep calculator. There's a link down below, along with all the other links that I'm mentioning, that have a sleep calculator. The sleep calculator, you put in what time you want to wake up or what time you want to go to bed, and it calculates the recommended times that you go to bed. And normally it's about 6 hours, 7.5, or 9 hours. Once you put in what the normal time that you want to wake up, it shows you the recommended times to go to bed to wake up the most well rested. It is recommended that you at least get the 7.5. Once you have calculated the amount of time that you need to get to sleep and what time you need to get to sleep, I have a routine that I have perfected, at least for me, where I set up a bunch of different alarms. Now, remember as a kid when your parents would come up and they would say, like, it's time to go to bed right now. Stop what you're doing, brush your teeth, and go to bed. Of course, maybe we knew that it was coming, maybe we knew it wasn't, or we didn't know. It was still frustrating to have to just instantly stop what we were doing. So I learned from a friend of mine that with their kid, they do about 15-minute warnings. They say, hey, I'm going to go up to my kid and I say, you have 15 minutes before we have to leave or 15 minutes before you go to bed. So I decided to create a few alarms. If you know what time you need to go to bed, I recommend this. Set up an alarm 20 minutes before you have to go to bed and 15 minutes before you have to start getting to bed. So let's take mine. I go to sleep around 10 p.m. at night. So I set an alarm for 9:40 and 9:25. Having those alarms is a great way to be able to keep yourself focused on getting back to sleep. It just helps push the habit a bit. Next part to help give you a great, amazing sleep is to stretch before bed. During my 20 minutes of time to go to bed after I brush my teeth, I normally get my yoga mat out and I do a quick 5 to 10 minute full body stretch. What I feel without fail, once I started doing this without fail, I have started to notice that as soon as I'm done stretching, my body is tired. No matter how wired up I was, my body is now just tired and ready to go to bed. So, find a little stretching routine or find a video to just walk you through it. A 10-minute before sleep stretch works wonders. Next, once you are finally in bed, what you can do to get even more relaxed is to do a progressive muscle relaxing breathing exercise. Essentially, what you do is you bring focus to the different parts of your body, and progressively, as you breathe in and breathe out, you release the tension. So, for example, you breathe in, you breathe out, and as you breathe out, you feel all the tension in your face releasing and relaxing. Then you do the same with your shoulders. Breathe in, your chest. Breathe in your arms, then your hands, then your abs, then your back, then your buttocks, and then your legs, and then finally all the way down to your feet. Once you have fully done that, and go at a slow, good pace, and I would say as you do that, there have been many times where I've just fallen asleep halfway through. There have been many times where I've relaxed my face and then relaxed my shoulders, and then I'm just out. So, doing that is another great thing to help you get even more relaxed and falling into a good sleep. Finally, we're going to talk about distractions and preparations. So, first, distractions. The best way that I like to deal with distractions is using a white noise machine, using an eye mask, using earplugs or headphones that have noise canceling are all great ways to help stop distractions. Those are the best things that I've used to help get me to sleep while I was in an area that was very noisy and bright. Finally, the preparation tips. The biggest thing to take from this is things to avoid before going to bed. So, one of the biggest things, caffeine. Drinking a cup of coffee before going to bed probably is going to keep you up. Recommended to not drink so much at the evening so it doesn't keep you up. Next, things like drugs and alcohol, other sort of recreational substances. Right before bed, I find if I ever have multiple drinks and I am tipsy or maybe a bit buzzed, or if you're high out of your mind, it can be a bit weird trying to go to bed. So I recommend saving those for a little bit earlier in the evening so that when you come down, you're a little bit more sober. And being sober definitely helps get to sleep a lot easier. Then avoiding things like too much screen time and a lot of stressful activities like working out that brings your heart rate up or anything like super heavy critical thinking. Those activities right before bed, so like an hour before bed, can raise your heart rate, raise your activity level, and specifically with screen time, a lot of screens can give you that light in your eyes thinking that it's still time to be awake. It's still daytime. So I'm not saying remove all of these things. I'm just saying lessen them to a reasonable degree and decrease the amount you have later in the evening. Because the less activity you have, the more relaxed, calm, and sober you are right before you go to bed, the easier and more comfortable you will be going to sleep. Again, do what you feel is right and don't take away the enjoyments of life. To summarize and bring everything back together, sleep is very important and necessary to have a very happy, healthy life. And having very little sleep, trying to survive on 5 hours of sleep or less, can bring our cognitive functions and just our mood and life and everything down, especially with making life dangerous, especially if you're driving while sleep deprived. Some of the best ways to be able to keep and help you get a good night's sleep is by calculating when you need to go to sleep, understanding the 90-minute cycles, setting some alarms to help you keep the habit of going to bed, and doing some stretches or some breathing techniques to help get your body even more relaxed when you are just about to or when you are going to bed. Some tips on how to prepare yourself for sleep is by avoiding some things that could keep you up that are things like caffeine, alcohol, other recreational drugs, too much screen time or stressful activities. And then finally, learning how to deal with distractions. Being able to take distractions away with things such as an eye mask, headphones, earphones, earplugs, etc., to be able to help make the sleep as gentle and peaceful as possible. Finally, life gets in the way, and we don't always get the best sleep. We can survive, but that's not what we should be aiming for. We should be aiming to live enjoyable life as much as possible. Me, I live with a mentality of I never want to wake up tired again. So I try my best to learn what I can, and I want to share what I can, because I know waking up tired as hell is one of the worst feelings, and I never want anyone to experience just having terrible sleep. So, thanks so much for watching, and I appreciate you sitting through this long video. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you were able to learn something, take something away from this, and I hope that you can have some amazing dreams as well. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Ring the bell if you want to see more, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.